Okay, so here we are on top of Bald Mountain, 4,700 feet in elevation. We rode a train 11 miles up from the Cass Scenic Railway. We've come up the full 11 to 12 miles. Now we're going to go back down about 3 miles, jump off this train with the group of guys and Miss Iris. We're going to walk in a couple miles, and we're going to stay here, and the train's going to pick us up on Monday morning about 11 o'clock when it comes back. We're going to meet it down at another train station about a 2.5 mile walk out. So this is a one-way ticket. There is no cell phones up here, no computers, no nothing. And the next ride out of here is Monday morning, so there's no emergency evac. We're going to be on our own. All right, here we go. Down the tracks. There goes the train. See ya.
When you think about it in hypothermia, is if you do start to get hypothermic, you have to rapidly rewarm. It's not just keeping yourself warm. Once you know you're hypothermic, you need to rapidly warm yourself. That's when you start to use a thermal layer, your clothes, a thermal layer, then you go into an actual waterproof layer. Then you can actually do another thermal layer and another waterproof layer if you're severely hypothermic, or if your buddy is severely hypothermic. Got everything there for that. One of the things we always talk about in EMS, street EMS, wilderness EMS, is we have another rule of three. Like Dave talks about the rule of three, and it's our ABCs, which is airway, breathing, and circulation. If you don't have an airway, nothing else really matters. If you're not breathing and you're bleeding really bad, the bleeding doesn't matter. The second is your breathing. Even though you have an open airway, the air could pass from your mouth into your lungs. If you're not actually exchanging that air, then there's your next step that kills people. And the third one, circulation. That's when you really start thinking about bleeding. From a small cut to a large gaping wound that needs a tourniquet. Those are the three things that kind of help you decide, one, how far you're going to go in this rescue. Are you going to do self-rescue? Are you going to keep the person there? From your severity of, if you don't have an airway and you start CPR, and it's a weird thing to think about, but in a wilderness or survival situation, CPR is only there. CPR sustains people. It doesn't save a person. It sustains a person until they can get to further medical care. That's why you continue to do CPR. In the wilderness, there's really only 2 times you do CPR, and one is cold immersion, if you pull them out, and the other is if they get struck by lightning. Both of those have been shown to actually save a person and bring them back. Somebody falls and either goes into a cardiac arrest or just stops breathing from trauma or a medical issue. It's tough to think about in a survival situation, but you have to think about yourself too. You can't continually do CPR on somebody for 24 hours. We're going to be looking at things like fractures, dislocations, impalements, cuts, and fractures of anywhere in the body, ribs. Every bone in the body has its own little special thing it can do further to the body if the fracture's not taken care of, or at least mitigated at that point, stabilized. So which one do you want to do first? You just want to do some basic splinting first, Jason?
Yeah, let's just do some basic splinting first.
So we'll just look at first, and what we'll do is show you, he's going to put some splint stuff together. We have, Ron, you want to go over decap bottles? Kind of you have to do an assessment. If you're walking with a buddy, we walk over this hill, and I fall down, and I roll down there, and I hit a tree.
You fall down right here. We'll just kind of do a little quick assessment and show people what we're looking at.
You have to do a quick assessment because you have things that are injuries that somebody breaks their arm. They're going to focus on that arm. They're not going to really realize that they may have a fractured spine. It's injuries they're distracting injuries. So you have to look all over the body to figure out exactly what you can do, because if you don't know what your problem is, you don't know how to fix it. What are you doing?
Let's just do a quick assessment. That's kind of the way normally things all start. Are we as a team in it, or
just say what you're doing?
Yeah. So basically what we're going to do, we're going to walk up. Hey man, are you okay?
Yeah, my arm hurts.
Your arm hurts?
Yeah.
Okay, what I want you to do is just kind of hold your arm there, okay? First thing I'm going to do, in any kind of splinting or anything like that, you're always looking for pulse, okay? He's talking to me, so I know he's breathing, okay? I'm looking at his color. His color seems to be okay right now. Any kind of paleness, any kind of purplish around the lips, that means that they're either really cold, hypothermic, or they're in some kind of respiratory compromise. Okay, so I want to make sure you're breathing all right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what hurts here?
My arm.
This arm right here?
My forearm, yep.
Okay, so you know where your pulse points are? Okay, you've got your radial pulse, you've got your brachial pulse. your carotid. You can come and get your femoral. You can also get your pedal pulse, which is right on the top of your ankle or top of your foot. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and kind of get myself a little assessment here and get some baselines. One of the things about whenever you're doing wilderness EMS is you're looking for baselines. You're looking for trends. So if I'm checking his pulse, you know, and if it's not a serious injury, I can do it every 15 minutes, a half hour. If it's something serious, I'm going to do it more often. And I'm going to go ahead and write this stuff down, because if I don't write it down, you know, my pulse might be, he might be bradycardic now, or might be in the normal range. Your normal pulse range is 60 to 100 beats a minute. Bradycardic means that you're lower than that, and tachycardic would be that you're higher. But 60 to 100 is what you're looking for.
He's also doing something else, which is another rule of 3. It's called PMS. It's called pulse motor sensory. He's not only taking my pulse, he's also seeing if I actually have circulation in the arm where I'm complaining of the fracture at.
So I know if I get a good radial pulse, then I at least have a blood pressure that my systolic is at least at 100. Okay, so I know I've got good blood pressure. Because without a stethoscope or without any kind of cuff with a blood pressure cuff, you're not going to know what your blood pressure actually is. So I'm going to take 15 seconds to go ahead and check his pulse.
What is it after that coffee?
112. Okay, so I get 20. Since I did 15 seconds, I'm going to multiply that by 4, and that'll give me my full pulse. So you're looking at a pulse of 80, which is right perfect what I'm looking for. I did that on his injured arm here. Now I know that there's good circulation there. Hey, can you point to where it hurts with your good arm? Good. So we're looking at maybe a forearm fracture. Okay, in your forearms you've got your radius and your ulna. So I'm going to look here, I'm going to look at his hands. I can pinch his fingernails, and what this is cap refill. That lets me know that I'm getting distal circulation. So you're looking at really under 2 seconds, unless it's cold, and then it could be a little bit longer.
This works well for hypothermia, or if you expect frost nip or frostbite.
Kids are really good to get their cap refill. Adults is not so much, but out here in this kind of situation, we're going to look at the cap refill. So I'm going to look to see if I have anything open. Do I have any bones sticking out? Do I have any holes? Is there bleeding? A coat like this, if he fell, would it be real easy to see the bleeding? Probably not, because it's going to contain it. Does it feel like anything's wet or moist in your arm?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and run my hand. If I have gloves, that would be wonderful. A lot of times if you're just hanging out, or if you're actually just camping, those might not be things that you bring.
Well, you're probably with somebody you know.
Yeah. Can you tell me if that hurts?
Yep.
Where does it hurt? Right here?
There.
Okay. Now I'm going to feel around his elbow. I'm going to feel around above and below. So I'm going to make sure he doesn't have anything. And on your patient assessment, it's important. Doctors are never really easy. You ever notice, like when you have a broken leg, you go in there, the doc's like, does this hurt?
Yeah.
Okay, they're not like, oh, tell me if that hurts. So you got to get in there and feel. Pinch and see if you can feel the bone in between the muscle. Okay, so we're looking up the humerus now. Does any of this hurt up here?
No.
Okay. What about over here?
No.
Okay, so I'm not